The 3DS has seen a fair share of hardware revisions over the years, and so far it's been pretty easy to figure out which one is the right version for you. The original system is compact and fits pretty well in a pocket or small bag. The XL has a huge screen that makes a world of difference when it comes to being immersed in gameplay. And the 2DS, which plays 3DS games in 2 dimensions only, is probably the most comfortable to hold and play for extended periods of time. Now Nintendo's released another 3DS variant in Japan, one it's calling the New Nintendo 3DS. The name New Nintendo 3DS is problematic for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't tell us anything at all about what's special about the device, unlike the 2DS and the XL. And two, it seems like a nightmare waiting to happen at retail whenever the system is released in the US. Go ahead and try to tell your GameStop clerk that you want a new Nintendo 3DS whenever it comes out in your territory, and you let me know how that goes. Confusing name aside, the new Nintendo 3DS is actually a significant upgrade to the 3DS line, and it can do plenty of things that previous versions of the system can't, including playing exclusive games, like the recently announced handheld port of Xenoblade Chronicles. Well, I won't speak to that yet, since the game hasn't even been released and nobody's had a chance to play it. I have had a chance to play around with the new 3DS, and I wanted to share a few details about what exactly you're getting if you choose to upgrade. But first, let's take a look at the system itself. The first thing you notice about the new 3DS, aside from these awesome Super Famicom themed face buttons, is that it looks very much like a 3DS XL shrunk down to a size that's comparable to the original 3DS. It does away with the shiny two-tone plastic and reflective black border on the top screen of the original system and replaces it with this really nice matte plastic, like on the XL. It's a pretty classy looking system. Also, the screens are actually a step between the original system and the XL in size, but we'll get back to that. The next thing you notice is that the new 3DS has actually had a few new buttons added. Looking on the back, you'll see an extra pair of shoulder buttons, and on the inside next to the face buttons, there's this little gray nub right here. This is the C stick. Altogether, these new buttons function pretty much identically to the CirclePad Pro accessory for the 3DS and 3DS XL, except of course for the fact that they're built right into the system. You might also notice these little divots in the top and bottom of the system, and that's because you can actually remove the top and bottom plates and replace them with a bunch of different ones Nintendo sells to personalize the look of your system with a whole range of themes, just like on the Game Boy Micro. These range from solid colors, blue, hot pink, etc., to game-specific patterns based on Super Mario Bros. And Animal Crossing, and a couple are even made out of metal or wood. Most replacement plates cost around $15 right now, with some pushing $30 and more. The cartridge and stylus slot are now on the bottom front edge, just like the power button and headphone jack. The sturdy new home button sits alone beneath the bottom screen, and the start button, select button, and volume sliders have all been relocated. These cosmetic changes are all kind of whatever. They don't significantly alter the experience in any way, so if you like them, that's great. There's one more change to the outside of the system that you might not notice, but it makes for a pretty significant improvement to the 3DS experience, and that's the addition of a new head tracking camera that allows the stereoscopic 3D effect to adjust itself based on where you're viewing the screen from. In fact, you can probably see my screen is moving around a bit right now because it's actually trying to track my eyes from behind the camera as I move my head. You might also notice that even though the 3D slider is turned all the way up, you can see the top screen clearly, and that's just a cool side effect of this new head tracking camera. So what this means is you can now tilt the system left and right, roll the system, and lean it forward and back, and still get a lock on the 3D effect. As someone who uses the 3D on my 3DS all the time, that's pretty exciting to me. Can't really show you on camera, but it only takes a split second to adjust to your viewpoint in a well-lit room, and a tiny bit longer in a darkened room. You'll just have to believe me when I say that if you're looking forward to this feature whenever the new 3DS is released in your territory, you won't be disappointed. Now let's take a quick look at how the new 3DS compares in size to some other handhelds, and then we'll dig into how the new system performs in comparison to previous versions of the system. So here we have a DSi XL. Here's my trusty 3DS XL. Here's the new 3DS. Here's my fancy custom Super Famicom themed Game Boy Micro, which is actually almost exactly the same width and height as the new 3DS. Then you have a DS Lite. Yeah, PSP Go. GBA SP. And a Game Boy Micro. And I don't really know where to put this. Here's the 2DS. And the Vita. And maybe we can look at the boxes too, because why not? Here's the box for a European 2DS. This is probably the biggest box for a handheld that's ever existed. Maybe. Here's the box for a US 3DS XL. Here's the box for a Japanese 3DS XL. And here's the box for the new Nintendo 3DS in Japan. And while we're here, here's the box for my custom GBA and Game Boy Micro. So that's how the boxes stack up. I also said I'd do a quick comparison of the screen sizes of the various systems, and while I don't have an original 3DS anymore, the 2DS screens are the same exact sizes on the original, so this comparison should suffice. So here's the XL with a 4.88 inch screen measured diagonally. The new 3DS's top screen is 3.88 inches diagonally, which is obviously exactly an inch smaller. It's a pretty significant size difference, but the new 3DS screen is still plenty large as far as I'm concerned. Now the 2DS measures 3.53 inches diagonally on the top screen, which obviously isn't as drastically smaller in comparison, but it's still a significant enough difference to make the new 3DS the easy choice when measured on screen size, as you can see here. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. Now that all that geeky stuff is out of the way, let's see how the system handles its most important task. Let's test some games. I'll go ahead and start with the Smash Brothers demo because I just know you're all wondering how the C-Stick works. Alright, oops. So as you can see, all I have to do is press on the C-Stick in whatever direction I want the smash attack to go, and it works. Also, something that's kind of cool, which is new to this version, is that you can actually hold the C-Stick in a direction to unleash a charged smash. It's not doing me a whole lot of good right now, obviously. But there you go, you see how it works. The other thing is that you can actually use the additional shoulder buttons as if they were the opposite shoulder buttons. So for instance, if you press R normally, your shield will come up. If you press ZR, your grab attack will come out, as if you had just pressed L. And vice versa, you can press ZL to bring out your shield. Now we're going to show off the Resident Evil Revelations demo real quick, because I know some people have been wondering, does the C-Stick work like as if a Circle Pad Pro is attached to the system? So let's take a look. So for walking around, works quite well. For walking around and looking while you walk, I should say, which is pretty cool. Aiming the gun, let's see, let's shoot that lamp. And let's shoot that lamp. And let's shoot that picture frame. And that one. And let's shoot that one. And how about that one? So, yeah, I mean, it works pretty well here. And lastly, this one's for a friend, and maybe for the entire internet. When I bought X Troopers, I was under the impression that it was a Circle Pad Pro game, and so I was pretty thrilled to be playing it on a new 3DS, since I've never actually owned the full game before. but I do believe it actually does not support CirclePad Pro at all, which is a shame, but let's open the full game for the first time, and we'll give it a shot. Hello, do you have any AR cards you would like? Oh, it does support the CirclePad Pro, look at that! Episode 0, Ichiban Boy. So, number 1 boy. Here we go. Skip it. Excuse me, I coughed. Is that rude? You guys are already seeing how brilliant this is, but let's just get the game started. Ugh. Okay, I can't skip this. So enjoy. Oh, I guess I'm supposed to be hitting the thermal cannon. It's like an interactive cutscene, I guess. This I can skip. Oh, this is familiar. This is the first level in the demo, too. Look at that. It works. That is a very pleasant surprise. That's a very pleasant surprise. And as far as I'm concerned, X-Troopers is the killer app for the new 3DS. You heard it here first. But that's all I'm going to show of it for now. Let's do one more. Let's do a DS game. Because why not? Hey, look at that. It's Dragon Quest V. Don't forget that DS games are not region locked. So if you import a new Nintendo 3DS, you can play all of your DS games from around the world. Isn't that just great? Oh, I can't continue if I don't have a file, huh? My name is Michael. That's the name my mother gave me. Oh boy, oh boy. Well, it's a DS game. It works. It looks pretty good. I think it probably looks a little better than on the 3DS XL, just because the screen is smaller, and like I said, that makes it sharper, but it's still a little soft. But I don't think you can complain a whole lot about that. Still looks great. Earlier today I was complaining to some invisible gamer folks that it took a long time to set up a Nintendo Network ID on my new 3DS, and that's because I don't read Japanese. And this led to a pretty important question. Why did I bother importing a new system if it's just going to come out in the US eventually anyway? Well, the reason for that, unfortunately, is that Nintendo region locks its handhelds, and has done so since the DSi. That wouldn't be a problem if every game was released in every territory, but sadly there have been plenty of 3DS games that were released exclusively in Japan and are likely to remain that way. So this means, of course, that Japanese 3DS players have access to a ton of great RPGs that haven't been localized here yet, Dragon Quest VII, but there are plenty of import-friendly games that have been locked to Japan as well. and these are the games that I'm interested in. Let's take a look at just a few of them, and I'll add a link to a great NeoGAF thread that goes into more detail on some of the great Japanese 3DS exclusives. So to wrap up, should you buy a new Nintendo 3DS? Well, that depends. If you're looking for a great way to play import games and you don't mind the language barrier, now's the time to jump in. The Japanese 3DS not only has access to some great Japan exclusives, but also sometimes has access to more import-friendly games like Smash Bros. Or Ace Attorney Trilogy months before they're released in the US and Europe. So if you're the kind of person who just can't wait, an imported system can be pretty appealing. For about $150, you can get a new Nintendo 3DS from Amazon Japan, and for a pretty small fee of about $22 including shipping, you can use a forwarding service like tenso.com to ship it to territories like the US that Amazon Japan refuses to ship to. Or you can just go through PlayAsia, which charges about $75 more than it costs to go through Amazon and Tenso, but will get to you about a day faster, and you don't have to bother setting up an account with a forwarding service. If you're wondering if you should upgrade your current 3DS to a new Nintendo 3DS whenever it releases in your territory, that's a trickier question to answer. Some of you might know that I have a lot of memories locked away inside my all-white 3DS XL. It's one of the only ones in the world that plays US games because I swapped the motherboards between a pair of US and Japanese XLs, and I'm not particularly looking forward to replacing it. It's also important to note for people who download a lot of games that once you transfer your games off your current 3DS onto a new Nintendo 3DS, you can't ever transfer them back. So once you make the change, that's it. If a handheld port of Xenoblade Chronicles, faster download speeds, and overall system performance are worth giving up your current system, then you should absolutely make the upgrade. The new Nintendo 3DS is undoubtedly the best version of the system, but history will show that it's only going to be a stopgap between now and whenever Nintendo releases whatever new generation handheld it's secretly cooking up.